You guys see my screen now? Oh,
Looks good.
okay. Yeah, I think there's a couple of people. So let's get started. Hi, I'm Manjula Swaminathan here. I am the Reflections Chair for this year, and I've been the Reflection Chair last year as well. This year is going to be different, as you all know. Everything is gone virtual. With the situation, we are adapting. I just wanted to give a brief introduction about myself. I have been with Briarwood PTA before that, and currently part of the Sierra Vista PTA. I do have a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old. My daughter is in Northwood, and my son goes to IVA this year for Sierra Vista. So that's pretty much my introduction. I've been part of this. So I just wanted to give an introduction on the Reflections. As some of you already know, Reflections is a great program that for the schools to have to promote the art. And one of the key things in this situation is people do have a lot of emotions going through a lot of the situation right now. So it will be good for them to this would be a good outlet for them to express their feelings. And what a great cause. The title for this year is I Matter Because, and I think that would be a wonderful start for all of your schools. I understand there are some programs you're trying to trim down, but Reflection is something that you would definitely want to consider, that because it's going to be virtual. It does make a lot things a little bit more easier than your past years. The reason being, majority of the the work that the Reflection Chair had to do in the past was trying to of course promote, which can be done online as well. The other thing was trying to get accumulate all the forms and all the entries, sort them out, and then within the forms that the parents submit, parents or the child updates the form. Usually you have to transcribe into the Excel spreadsheet. All that does take a lot of work. This year, with it being virtual, these things has to be done online, and as that will reduce a lot of work on your part. And plus the thing is, you do not have to handle the artwork. I totally understand that some of the artwork is better when you see it in person, but we still have to go with the situation here and make do of what is there. Hopefully this will help out in all of you in the future years to some of the concept of this can be utilized in some way. Could be partial or virtual next year. So let me get started. I will be sending out, I'll be going over a Google form that we have that I'll be walking it through. But I just wanted to go over the slides first and then get started. In the meanwhile, anyone has any questions, just wanted to give a quick 1 minute to go around the room. Anyone? Are we good? Okay, I'll proceed. So I will be going over the form, and then I'll be sending you all the link to the form, and then how to proceed with it is what we are going to see right now. So you all understand that once I send you the form, what is exactly that you have to do? First and foremost, of course, by this time, if you haven't already, you should be promoting the Reflections on your social media or email information that goes out with your the principal sends it, or your PTA addresses to the parents. However your communication method is for your school, make sure to take advantage of that and start promoting Reflections. You have a lot of information out there on the PTA sites, the IUCPTA, the 4th district, and of course we have, if you have not already gone through, IUCPTA.org. The website, if you go to the training materials, we have started putting in information in there. In the coming weeks, you should see more of the information. And, as always, you can all feel free to email me as well. So here's the thing. So I got the form. Now, what do I do? So once you get the link to the form, first and foremost thing you have to do is make a copy of it. Because, the link that I will be sending it to you is something that you will need to make a copy of it first. And then you need to be sending it to your parents. Like, you need to first create a short link so that the parents can go ahead, parents and the child, the child, in some cases, high school students are pretty much on themselves, they should be able to do it. So first, after you do this, you should click on the send button. Maybe, I can kind of walk you through the form after this. And then you have to kind of create a short link for them. So this is how the window will pop up, right? So you can actually look at how the form is going to look like, so that before you can even do this. And then you click on you do have an option to send that form itself as an email. I would advise not to do so. The reason is you are going to be sending it to multiple people, and especially your method of communication would be a broadcast, and not that you are individually responding to each and every child who's interested in participating in the reflection. So the best recommended method would be to, convert it into a link. So here's what you do. So in the Google form, you do have an option to convert it into a link. And there is a way to provide a short URL. I'll kind of go over that once we get to that walkthrough of it. And then you should be able to copy that link, and then it should be email it to the to the principal, to everybody, whoever should be filling up the form for your school, right, and participating in it. So the form is pretty simple. I can explain as we go through the actual form, because I don't want to kind of read the slide here. We do have everything in there. So one of the first important thing that you need to remember is the grade division and their art category needs to be well categorized, right? And then the artist statement, that's the most important thing. Among everything else, for any art, the artist statement does carry at least, I think, the maximum weightage when the judges are going to look at it. So if there is two different art that look very promising, and then the judges are rating it well, the one with the better artist statement usually is the one that wins, is able to proceed forward to the next level. So that's one thing that make sure that when you're promoting it, you do kind of stress on the artist statement. And it's also about not just how the student is able to express their art and kind of give a perspective. So as a judge, we would like to see the judges would like to see what the artist is actually trying to tell through their art. Okay, so any questions?
I need it because I need.
Yes, go ahead. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to ask you something.
Sure.
With these three models, the school will be still like my home school, or they have to put IVA or something?
No, it will be your home school.
It has to be home school in any model, whatever you are doing.
For now, right, Jackie? Do you want to kind of, for all the PTA purpose, it is your home school, right? Even if it is IVA.
Right. There's no separation between IVA and your homeschool.
Yeah.
So you're going to represent all of your students, whether they're hybrid, traditional, or IVA.
Right. And that stands, yeah. So for example, my son is doing IVA, still we are Sierra Vista. Okay, so here, so this form is something, we will walk through, later. One of the key things you have to remember is all the visual arts, photography, and literature need to be in a JPEG format or PDF, right? So those are the only things that this will accept. The form is set up such that it can only accept these two formats. So if you do have anyone who is having trouble converting into let me know. I should be able to kind of guide a little bit on how to kind of, save as the file. I'm sure, since most of them are doing virtual at this point, they all know how to kind of convert anything into a PDF. There are apps that do it. If you take a picture of something called Office Lens, one of the cool tool that I use even for work and everything, you can take a picture of anything, then actually convert it into a PDF or to a JPEG, and then you should be able to upload it. Okay. And then the other thing is the music composition, that we only allow the audio files. And we are able to separate out upload of the JPEG and the PDFs for the notation. So for the elementary school, it is not required for the music composition to have any notation along with it, because it's not required. But of course, if the child is able to write music, it's well and good for the composition. But for the middle school onwards, it's going to be required, right? So in that case, you do need that in the music notation in a PDF or a JPEG format. And that's very important. And always it has to accompany, music composition will have to accompany this, okay? And then comes the film production and the dance choreography. All of them have a size limit. So as you know, 5 gig is the max you can go, and that's important. That they have to keep it under the time limit. That is all, that we will go over some of the rules in there. And the biggest thing is, now that we are going virtual, is that we have to take into consideration the the size, right? We do not want to get into a situation where we kind of run out of space. So every participant should only do max of 5 gig. Okay. Next.
So this 5 gig is the limit, and then somebody is up on that over it. So do you need to get back to them?
It won't allow it. It won't allow it. The system is such that it won't allow it.
Okay. So they have to fix it before they. Okay.
Yeah, they have to compress it in some form. They have to reduce it, and then upload it. If they do have, situation. See, the good part is, in the past, what has happened is, as a reflection chair, even though we have rules, people will try to kind of, if the time limit is such, somehow they will talk to you and get it done, right? Now the system is kind of going to be limiting them. So there is no other way. There is no choice but for them to kind of, adhere to the rule.
And previously, especially in the arts, the section in you had the size limit of inches, this by this, and now what is the process like?
I think let's go and kind of go over that. I will go over that later. Yeah, that is something that we have to. Okay, and then so I just wanted to go over this process, since the process is a little different. The rules have stayed more or less the same over the years, and that still applies. So we will go over them pretty soon. So as you will see, the Google form, once it is submitted, once the student is submitted the form, you should receive an email. They will receive it. They should receive an email saying that email is received after each entry is submitted. The standard email that goes out. And after that, now that the students have submitted everything, how are you going to consolidate things, right? That would be the next step. So as you all know, the deadline for the schools to complete their reflection process and submit it to the IUCPTA is going to be October 23rd, 9 p.m. PDT or PST, Pacific time. The reason that, so that does allow you, so you should be able to adjust your timeline. I would say give it at least a week or so for you to kind of consolidate things. Give yourself good amount of time so that you can set your deadline for your school. Okay? So, okay, after the form is submitted, we should be able to, you know, kind of do the consolidation of all the responses. And then you should be able to create a spreadsheet out of it. So the good part is now you don't have to type things in this year. We should be able to create from the form information, it should transcribe into the spreadsheet now. So we will be, you know, the Google Sheet will be created. Basically, it's a pretty simple process. If, you know, this material is from the California PTA. It's pretty detailed enough, but in case you still have any questions, as always, you know, you do have my email. I will be able to, you know, even if I don't get back to you in the daytime, since I do work full time, you know, I will definitely be able to get back to you at the end of the day, or, you know, as soon as possible, I will definitely respond to you. Just keep that in mind. I should be able to help out in these situations. Okay. And so basically all the, you know, we are able to download all the into an Excel spreadsheet. And then we should be able to, good part is there should not be a situation where things will be, you know, missing information, because the form is such that it makes them enter the information that is, you know, required. So it makes the output is made easy for you so that you can prepare and send it forward to us. And then of course, you know, we do the same thing for all the 40 different schools, and then we do send it to the 4th district. Okay, so you should be able to, you know, each of them, you can do that, you know, you can set the turn off form acceptance, and then you can actually, you know, you can accept the form or not, you know, that is also something that you can, you know, set it up in the form template. So you should be able to complete everything, upload it into the, so you can set your, you know, there are different folders, right? There will be folders that can be created for the dance choreography, photography, all the different ones. And then of course, the final would be the, you will be able to see, you know, look at in the Google Drive, you should be able to look at all the entries in there and then corresponding entries, and then you should be able to correlate it to the line item on the form. Okay, so that's pretty much what you have in the you know. So just so you guys know, let me kind of show it to you on my 1 minute. So this is our, can you guys see it? The IUCPTA webpage? Or you're not seeing that?
We could see that, yeah.
Okay, oh, got it. Yeah, it doesn't tell me that it's sharing that screen or not. Okay, so here is the, you know, if you go to the IUCPTA, we're trying to kind of, you know, consolidate all the training materials that is done this week, and we will be uploading them as it comes. This meeting is also recorded, and that will be put in there in a day or so. May is our, for, you know, managing the IT for our IUCPTA. She's done a wonderful job in keeping things, you know, organized here.
It's all. And her name.
Any question? Okay.
Will the slides also be available online?
Yeah, it is online. Yeah. So all the information is going to be put here. You should be able to see the reflections information as you scroll down. You will see that this is the CAPTCHA video, and then also for the our training material is over here too. And then this presentation will, this recorded presentation at this point is going to be put here. This will be hyperlinked to this. Yeah. So I'll take a moment here in case you guys have questions before I move on to that. There are two aspects that I'm going to show you. One, of course, is the actual form, Google form that we talked about in that in this PowerPoint. And then I will go over the rules, basically the promotional ideas and the rules. That is something that we will walk through. Okay. Any questions at this point?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
With regards to the forms that we distribute, so it's not really the reflections chair who's distributing it, it's the principal or the school, is that right?
The thing is, it depends on how you have your communication set up in your school, right? A lot of the time, some schools opt for all the PTA communication goes through the principal in some schools. Because we want to kind of consolidate into one newsletter. That way we are not overwhelming the parents, right? And that is the protocol that a lot of the schools have adopted. So, and we can continue with that. In the past, we as a reflections chair, you always had an option to do your announcements or things in the school, but now that option is not there, right? With the current situation. So you may want to evaluate how you like to do that. Maybe you can send that as part of your principal's communication as well. If you would like to send it out to all the PTA members that are registered, you should be able to send out in a separate email. That is something that you as a person need to work with your president and by your how the setup is in your school, and then promote it. Jackie, am I right?
That's correct. There are some principals that are willing to do that. So I think it doesn't hurt however way you get it out there, and it's okay if it's repeated. So
Yeah.
Your standard PTA communication, that includes it. And then also ask that your principal include it. And then also social media.
Yeah, social media is a great way to promote it. The Facebook, Instagram pages is something that you would definitely want to do it. Or if some of the schools, I think they do use that app. I forgot the app name. I know Briarwood had it. It's for the PTA. There's an app.
The Remind app, no?
Yeah?
The Remind app?
Not the Remind app. They have an app for the PTA. There was an app that was used. Remind is basically just for teachers use it for school. But this was something that, the PTA would actually use. Let me look it up, and maybe I'll send it out in the email later.
And just, can I also just respond to Libby, who just asked the question? Libby, at Rancho, it will go all through the principal. So she will send it out in an email on behalf of the PTA. So that's how it will be done.
Okay.
Manjula, are you talking about the membership toolkit app, the app which PTA uses, the website, and then there is an app also?
Yes, there is some app that is used for
It's
promoting
the backend
events.
they use because I was handling the communications, and when we move to a new system now, and we do not really have members right now, only it's the initial stage. So we will send it through maybe principal and then the newsletter, of course.
Right. So I'm saying I will find the app information we have in the past, at least I know that for sure Briarwood, and there is one more school that used it. It was pretty cool in the sense, it used to send out communication, the bell schedule and things like that. It was consolidated information for the school and more for the PTA. It was more for the communication for the PTA. That could be one option. I'm just saying that. But then, of course, your social media is going to be your big tool at this point, along with your, weekly or how. I'm sure it is going to be weekly communication, because communication is the key at this point in time, especially when everything is virtual. So, tag along with that, and then, try and promote it as much as possible. Right now, one good thing is, your spending, on the posters and things like that has drastically gone down with this, right? So you may want to reallocate those funds, if at all you had allocated it in your budget, to something, for a better price or things like that internally for your school.
And Manjula, I have a question in regards to the acceptance of form. I'm not sure if I missed that information, but where do they turn in the forms?
I'm in a meeting and then I
have
have
an
to
email
get a
ID?
phone to meet with the
Pardon, I can't hear you. Someone needs to mute their phone. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, go.
Okay. So when the parents get the form, where do they send it to? Is there an email ID that we need to create, or do they send it to PTA, or how does it work?
It would be the PTA. Actually, the form, so usually your PTA needs to have whoever is the chairperson. Either they might be using the school Google Suite. So a lot of the schools use the Google Suite, right? Like reflections@a-schoolname.org. That is one thing that most of them use. Then you can, so you should be able to associate it with that Google account. So you will be getting an email through that. Or the other option is you definitely will need a Google account. Like, it has to be a Gmail or a Google Suite in order for this to be facilitated, right? So you should be able to set that as your default email. That's the account that you will be associating the form with. So as soon as they submit the form, you should be getting that information, to that email.
Got it.
Yeah. It has to be Google, because, we are using the Google Forms. There is no other way for us to, not Hotmail or any other email at this point.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Manjula, there's a question in the chat that says where the parent consent forms are.
Yes, it is kind of integrated in here. Let me kind of let me show this. Can you guys see the screen?
Yeah, the screen's up.
Okay, so this is the IUCPTA form. I still have to kind of make a copy and then distribute it to you all. And eventually, by this weekend, you should see that. But in the meanwhile, I'll try to do it today, if possible tonight itself, so that it's taken care of. So as you will see in this form, there is ownership, submission, all that, everything is incorporated here, right? So you will see that for choreography, dance choreography, film production, all this is in here. So this is something that for example, all this information, so as a PTA reflection chair, there is a section that you will be filling it out. And then as you will see, there is image title. So let me see. The consent is part of this, your signature right here. Type your name, the student signature, and the parent signature. All that is part of this. So it has been consolidated into one form with this. Is that the question that you were asking? So we did, so this form has actually come from National PTA, right? So that everything has been consolidated. They had sent it to California PTA, and then California PTA shared it with the 4th district, and 4th district has shared with us. So this form in itself does have all the necessary information, including the signature that actually consents that you're able to use so if you here, all that is in here.
Can you just leave me here? Thank you.
Yeah.
So this is the form which we will receive, and then we are going to change few things regarding our own local school.
Yes.
And then this, if somebody like a parent submit this form on behalf of their kid, that will still come to us via our Google account, or
Yes. All the responses you will see here. I'll go over that with you.
Okay.
Okay. So there is going to be some, student signature. So are you talking about the way for, these consent where you're saying, especially when they have their, picture is on the photography or filmography or choreography video? Is that the consent that you are asking about? There is another separate form, right, for that?
Yeah, the question in the chat just says parent consent.
Oh,
Okay.
it's actually not a question. I just said
okay.
that it does include the parent consent forms.
All right.
Yes. Yeah. So as you saw that, it does have that. I will clarify because, there is going to be, it's potentially if the parent has a picture of the, child in that, if there's sometimes, for photography, people do that. You want to make sure that those are taken, like especially, let's see, does it have any other? No, it doesn't have that. I will clarify that with the CAPTA or fourth district. Do we need to have anything else for photography, choreography, and some of the ones that potentially does have the child or any person in there to consent. So I know we have had to do that in the past.
Yes.
So yeah, that is one point of clarification. It's outstanding for me. So one of the key things, as I told you before, is this section, right? Before you even distribute this form, you may want to fill this up. Local PTA name, this would be your PTA name, no?
Yes. They will be filled before this will be broadcasted to our parents, or
yes,
this will be filled. Just like the paper form, we used to have the number and the code for the
top section used to be filled by us, same thing.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is something that you will, so here is where your email will be there, right? The email that you will be receiving the form back. So you can put that email in. Or if you want to have your own, a different, what do you call, you may want to manage it on the Google, but you want to respond it on a different email, feel free to do that, however easier to communicate. It's up to you. But everything else, like, when I send you this form, I will be filling these information, the district information, state information, all that, and then the council information before I send it to you. And this is, this is pretty much what it'll, send out. And this is the response tab, right? Like, so if I submit a form from here, this is where there's, of course, right now I don't have any responses because no one has submitted it. But this is where you will be monitoring any responses on all the forms that got submitted. And then, as I said, when you click on the send, one of the steps we saw, we will be creating a link here, use this hyperlink, and then use the shortened URL once you have it. Okay, I'm going to cancel it for now until I'm ready to send all this out to you guys. And one other thing is you can also see is what does it show up for the child, right? Or the student, how does it appear to them? From there, since you are managing the form, you are seeing it differently, but these are the information that they will see. This is all they will be submitting. All the, the information that you will be inputting, those won't be here.
So I have a quick question.
Sure.
This is my first time doing the Reflections program, and I've been reading information about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I did read that we have the option to choose which categories we're going to present in our school. Is that correct?
Yes, but the thing is, ultimately, you will have to send it to me in virtual. The reason is we are doing virtual for the school district council.
Oh, well, my question follows though, in regards to this form, it has all the categories on there. So if we only pick certain categories that we're gonna present, can this be edited?
No, you will only be sending no, you are not going to be editing the form.
Okay.
So if you're participating in only certain categories, that's fine. There is another form that you will be sending it saying that, okay, with the consolidated numbers, when you get all the responses back, and then when you are converting it into a Google Sheet with the information that you will be sending it to me, there you can always, mention that, these categories were not, you did not participate. Which school is this? Your Olomar?
Yeah, Lomaridge.
Okay, thank you.
And then this form opens in somewhere where the rules are, or we have to broadcast them separately?
You have to kind of send the link to the rules as well. When you send that out, you have to kind of send it together. So if I go back here on the training material, so let's kind of go over that. So this is the presentation. Let me go back. Is that the same or not? Okay, this was actually from the CAPTA. Oh, I don't know.
Manjula, is the link above it the one that you
Yeah. I was looking for, it does say 42. I guess this is not it.
Yeah, it's above it. This says new on the side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Above
So
that.
this is the one that tells you, how to kind of go about, for the CAPTA does have that. So you will see that, okay, so they did provide all the links. Yeah.
So now previously, so far, I mean, we used to put the rules and everything in our own PTA website.
Yes.
Now what is the process?
You can still put the web, so the thing is, as you will see, we have kind of taken from CAPTA, and the fourth district is yet to update their page. So that's why we had to kind of take it from the CAPTA. Okay. So you can do the same thing. You can reference this and then, post the rules in there, because the rules are something, they are not school specific. You should be able to link them to the CAPTA or your, the one. You should be actually linking it to our IUCPTA.
Now it was virtual. Now it is virtual, but earlier what happened was we had to put each and every rule separately on our own website, because people used to get confused. Oh, where do I go? Where do I do this, that?
Yeah, you should still do that. I would suggest you still use that, because that's one thing, right? Like if you think about it, as a parent, if I go in, I would always be checking the school website first, right? That is my first and foremost resource. So you should be actually doing it on your website if it is possible. Even if it is not possible for you to kind of edit all that and get it ready on time, at least hyperlink it to our website. Like, that's exactly what we are trying here. In the meanwhile, until our materials are prepared, what we are trying to do is we kind of are referring it to the material from CAPTA or National PTA, whichever is available, so that can help your parents to navigate through this, do that.
Yeah, honestly, the people actually, what happens is they don't see it as a part of PTA doing it versus the school doing it. They confuse a lot, like, oh, I don't know, not the school website, where do I do this, that, all kind of questions.
Yeah, I think you should be able to link it, whoever is going to be managing your school website. I'm sure there's,
I was holding that position until now, like, for past 2 years. So I know I have done it for Reflections Chair, and now I am on their, depending on them now.
Okay.
Can you include the link to the rules in your email to us?
Yes, I will be sending all of that. I was waiting for this today's training to be done. I will be sending you the links to that. I will be sending you our deadline, the timeline, and also also we'll be sending you what could be your, just a guideline for the timeline. All the information that we talked about, the promoting, how to promote, what are the different avenues, all that will be consolidated in the email when I send it out.
Oh, thank you so much. You know what would also be super helpful, at least to me, is if you have like a suggested blurb that we can just copy and paste for our
Yes.
school's website. That way it'll just make it so much easier because we'll just copy and paste it and make sure that goes in the newsletter on, you know, Facebook.
Yeah, we'll do that. I will make sure I can do that, definitely. Which, you know, it will make it easier for everybody. And also the information is more uniform and we convey, yeah, across the schools. Yeah, we could do that for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that's, you know, as you will see, lot of if you go to the CAPTA or the, I would say, like program events in their reflections, right? So you will see that all the different rules are there, right? Like, you know, if you go to the CAPTA site, they do have the different important reflection dates. Of course, it's going to per unit. This is their date. And also keep in mind, you know, I know everybody is only promoting the different art, the 6 categories. Also try to promote the reflection. You do have the theme search, right? This year's theme search, the theme which is I Matter Because was this was a winner a couple of years ago. Usually it's like after 2 years that whoever is the winner of the theme search theme is the one that becomes the theme for the next couple of reflections, right? Two reflections down. So it will be a wonderful thing too, because people, you know, a lot of the kids and a lot of the, you know, have an idea on what could be a good theme and why they feel that is a good theme. You know, they should be able to go in and, you know, put that in there as well. So promote that too, because we would.
That's a different deadline, right?
Yeah, that does have a different deadline. Yes. So the good part is they can actually go into the CAPTA site and directly fill in that. You can just link it there, but I'm just saying, like, you know, it will be good to have some winners in future from one of our school districts, right? So it'll be nice. So it does have all the different rules if you go into it, like, you know, okay, let's go up each one of the thing. There is a tools website. There's a tools page. I'm trying to find out. There was a. Okay, student entry packet with the forms, rules, and everything. So each one of them, there is a student entry. So this is what you would be going over for the rules, right? So let's kind of take a look, you know, just a quick sample. I don't want to kind of be reading through this, you know, that was not the intent of our, but at least let's kind of take a look at this. I'll be sending you the link to this. Just give me a minute as it loads. Okay, so as always, you know, this was it had the whole thing about 5 minutes in length, and now we are doing that 5 gig, right? So we are allowing 5 gig, so here the rule says for the state that it's going to be 1 MB, oh, sorry, 1000 MB. So let me clarify that, because right now, if we are allowing 5 gig, and if this is going to be less than that, then as we send it forward, do we have to compress it further, right? That is something that I do have a question for 4th district, and I will get back to you on that.
Good that you caught it.
Yeah, so there are little things like this, right? I think this was because in the past, everything, you know, they used to do it in the USB, then you had to they had to make 3 copies of USB, and that actually kind of caused a lot more work. And, you know, people losing their USB somewhere, not labeling it right. There was so much, all those things you don't have to worry this time. Hopefully this, you know, we will be able to streamline it further, get your questions answered, and, you know, make it smoother for you. Yeah. So I will be sending this, sending the link, and there are some clarification we definitely will have. And then just so you guys know that the literature, so one of the common thing that I've had in the past, people have asked is comics, are they considered literature or considered art? So usually they are considered as literature. The reason is, even though it is art with the blend, but it does tell a story, and it can go to pages and does have word count. So I think in that case, it is considered as a literature. So if I know that kids are into, doing comics, it will be considered as a literature when you submit it. So just so you know that when you are, so this is kind of, gathering everything. We talked about, how to consolidate all the entries, but now comes the judging. How do you proceed, right? In this case, since it is going to be online, I would suggest that you should actually right now try getting judges from around your, your school or someone. Art teachers are a great resource. Usually a lot of the, not just art teacher, I meant, if it is a middle school, you have option because a lot of the elective teachers are there. Same thing with high school. For elementary, you may need to find people in your community who are into art. Try getting, I'm sure you can get that information from your previous reflection chair. If this is your first time, that will be a great resource to start with. So try to talk to them, how would they prefer, doing the judging. In this case, since everything is going to be online, it might make things easier. You should be able to send them and then they judge. Because once you kind of send them for each category, you can have different set of judges, or you can have judges for, for all the 6 categories, right? You can do that as well. It is up to you how you would like to kind of go through that the judging criteria. Find a person that you think will be able to look at it objectively, and especially try to not avoid anybody. I mean, it's unavoidable at the elementary level, but it is in name judging, and in this case, the information is out there. You may want to send it out to the judges by converting. I would suggest, this is what I did in the past last year. Even though we were not virtual, but for the dance choreography, filmography, the film production and the music composition, I did have judges that were not from here. They were at Disney and stuff like that. And they were not physically doing it, so I had to send it through the Google. So since it had to be nameless judging, what you can do is, once you have the spreadsheet of all the information that all the entries is there, you should be able to assign some numbers to those entries and have it in a numbered such a way. So you send that number, so there is no indication of the artist's name or any information when the judges are taking a look at it. That can help with unbiased judging.
And one thing I wanted to know, if a parent is in this related field and they can be a judge, so the kids cannot participate?
No, they can participate. They can definitely participate.
No such rule for that.
I don't think in the school level we are getting to that. I think as you go through the IUCPTA and other levels, we do not want that. Even though I know that kids will participate. You are all parent volunteers, right? Your purpose is you're doing this for your child, and at this point, there is a possibility that your child may participate. That is totally okay, as long as the judging happens unbiased, in the sense you are able to block things off. And also, if the parent happens to be a judge, there is multiple, it's going to be you will have multiple judges, and then you're able to consolidate the result and take an average of it. So
So
ultimately,
multiple
that's
judges
how
in
you should proceed.
visual art will have one judge. That's the only person judging that category. So if the kid is participating, then is it possible to do that?
If you know that the kid is participating of that judge, then you would want to have another judge.
Okay.
That is definitely advisable. The reason is you would want to have an average. I highly recommend that. That would actually take away any kind of questions among other parents of any bias, right? As PTA, you are always striving to be unbiased.
Angela, we have about 5 minutes before we have to.
Yeah, I think right now, I think I was able to cover most of it. As I said, I will be sending a consolidated email by end of this week, I would say, but then I might send you the form sooner than that. The reason being the form so that you can get, look at it, get used to it and fill out your information part. But then I will be sending you a consolidated email with everything that needs to happen, the links, and I'll put in as much as information. And if I'm missing anything, as always, feel free to email reflections@iucpta.org. I know in the past my email was iucpta.reflections@gmail. That works as well, but I would suggest start using this. The reason is, I want to have all the data in one place, so that next year, since I cannot be the chair next year, I want to make sure I transfer the knowledge correctly and we have all the documentation in here.